What's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be sharing my key takeaways from The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel.
Cha-ching!
This book only cost me $15, but I feel like this $15 investment is going to make me and save me so much more money than the initial $15 investment because of how valuable the lessons in this book are. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a newbie to personal finance, you'll find this book valuable because it has lessons that not a lot of personal finance books talk about. A lot of personal finance books out there focus on the financial aspects of money, so things like where to invest your money and exactly how much money to invest. But what this book does instead is it focuses on the behavioral aspects of money. Things like how you relate to money and how it shapes your decisions and ultimately your life. And this behavioral aspect is often underlooked, and it's a shame because it's one of the most important aspects of personal finance, and I'll explain why that's the case in the next 30 seconds. But before we get started, welcome to the channel. We release a video every week about making money, investing, and saving to put yourself in a better financial position. So if you're interested, consider subscribing to the channel. And while you're at it, hit that like button so that this video gets pushed out to a lot more people. We really appreciate it. So let's dive straight into it. The first and most important lesson that I got out of this book is that personal finance is more personal than it is finance. Now, what do I mean by this? To put it simply, it's not your knowledge, but your behavior that will have the most impact on your financial situation. So what does this mean for you? It can mean two things. If you're a genius when it comes to finances, you can still find yourself in a bad financial position if you can't control your emotions or behavior. On the other hand, if you don't have a lot of financial education, you can still be wealthy if you have certain behavioral skills that have nothing to do with financial intelligence. And we'll talk about these behavioral skills in just a second, but you can see the truth in this when you look at average people who work average jobs, earning average wages, and at the end of retirement, they have lots of wealth and $1 million saved up in their retirement account. And on the flip side, you have people who make $1 million a year, but they retire broke and in debt, because although they had the intelligence to make a lot of money, they didn't have the behavioral skills to stay wealthy. If you're super smart and you have all the best investment strategies mapped out in your head, all that knowledge doesn't matter if you lose control of your emotions, freak out, and make a bad decision, for example, when the market is falling. Now, that's not to say you should completely ignore financial education and literacy. Those are still useful tools for you to make better use of your money. But instead of being caught up in your head and confused because you don't know which investment account will give you the best returns, realize that most of the time it's your behavior and not your knowledge that will shape your financial future. You can look at it as 80% behavior and 20% head knowledge, and I'll talk about these behaviors very soon. But if you're not particularly interested or talented in the financial aspects of money, don't worry, because you can still be wealthy if you have the right behavior. And if you're really talented and interested in finances, then reflect on your emotions and behavior, because this might be the bottleneck that's stopping you from reaching your full potential. So you might be wondering, what exactly are these behaviors that help people stay wealthy? Well, other than smashing that like button, one key behavior that you really want to nail down is the behavior of saving. And this leads me to my next takeaway from this book, is that you don't need a reason to save money. So we usually attach saving money to a specific goal, like saving for retirement, saving for a house, or education. But this book explains that saving money in itself should be the goal, and you don't need a reason to save money other than to just save. The reason is because you never know what's going to happen in life. There are a lot of unfortunate things that can happen to you and the people around you. So saving is a great way to protect yourself from the uncertainties of our world. There's a quote in the book that says, "Things that never happened before happen all the time." And I think 2020 was a great example of this. So saving for a specific goal makes sense in a predictable world, but unfortunately, ours isn't. I'm not saying that saving for a specific goal is wrong. It's good to have savings goals for buying a house or a car or education, but even if you don't have those goals, consider saving money just for the sake of saving money. Another reason is because saving money gives you options. When you have money saved up in the bank, you can go through multiple job applications before accepting the one that you like the most, instead of accepting the first job that comes your way. You can wait for opportunities in the market instead of buying immediately. And most importantly, you can have more control over your time. This is why even the best investors like Warren Buffett still hold a lot of cash. You might get a 0% interest on your savings account, but the peace of mind, the leverage, and the confidence that your savings can give you is incalculable. From my personal experience, saving money also develops the habit of delaying gratification, and delayed gratification is one of the key predictors of life success. And if you want to learn more about this, you can Google the marshmallow test. And I also found out the reason why most cold weather countries are more wealthy than hot weather countries, because in the past, in cold weather, you had to ration out your food supplies to survive the next winter, and this developed a saving culture or habit and improves overall wealth. If you want to learn more about that, Economics Explained did a great video on it, and I'll link it in the description below. But my third key takeaway from the book is that we are not spreadsheets, but we are humans with emotions. Surprise, surprise, right? But a lot of people treat their finances as if they are just a number on a spreadsheet without factoring in their emotions and behavior, which could have a massive impact on their financial decisions. For example, if you have some financial knowledge, you could, with some time and effort, invest in a custom portfolio that gives you maybe 10% return, more than the 6 or 7% average. It's certainly the rational thing to do, to put more time and energy in so that you get more returns out of your investment. But it's reasonable for that same person to invest in safer investments and just get 4 to 5% returns on their investment because it helps them feel more secure and sleep better at night. This is where the book differentiates between what's rational and what's reasonable. It's rational to want to get the highest return on investments, but it's reasonable to get less return and more peace of mind. It's rational to take the job that pays more so that you can have more income and build your wealth faster, but it's reasonable to take the job that pays less because it's closer to your home, you're less stressed, and you just enjoy it more. Being reasonable is more realistic, and you have a better chance of sticking with it for the long run because you don't have to rely on your willpower all the time. And this is what matters most when managing your money. So don't aim to be a rational robot, just aim to be pretty reasonable when it comes to money. Another important lesson that I got from this book is that wealth is what we don't see. And spending money to impress people is almost always a bad idea. And we do this more often than we think. So let's take one of the most common examples, which is to buy a luxury car. Most of the time when people are buying luxury cars, what they're buying instead is status or recognition from others, which is fair enough. People tend to look at fancy cars, and I like to look at nice cars too. But the thing that really changed my mind when reading this book is when the author explained that, for example, if you see someone with a 1 million ringgit car, you don't actually know whether that person is rich or not. The only thing you really know when you see that person driving that car is that they have 1 million ringgit less in the bank before they purchase that car. I thought that was quite funny because it's true. We tend to come to conclusions even though we lack the information needed to arrive at that conclusion. And I think it's just a natural human tendency to connect the dots and fill the gaps, one that car companies and a lot of other companies are aware of, and they make use of that against us. So the main lesson I got from this book is to focus more on my behavior instead of my financial knowledge. And we're always influenced by things like greed, fear, envy, and we crave things like recognition, status, and belonging. So if you really take the time to understand the real reasons or emotions behind your financial decisions, you can really see through the smokescreen and figure out why you're doing something in the first place. If you want to learn more about these ideas, I highly recommend you pick up this book. I got it on Audible, but I think you can also get it in major bookstores in Malaysia. It's definitely worth your money, and I can foresee myself going back to it at least once every year. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to watch it. Who knows, maybe this video will blow up and the author will see it and we can get the author on the TMF talk show. I think that it would be a really cool video to interview the author, and so we can put that content out for you. If you want to watch more videos from us, you can click here. I'll see you in the next one.